fearless fundraisers. I'm Dawn Lego, and it's time to buckle up for a new episode of Raise Nation, the one and only podcast made to inspire fundraisers like you to continue making impact in our communities, building better tomorrows, and exchanging ideas. So whether you're a trailblazer or seasoned pro, you'll pick up the trends that transform your fundraising. And together, we'll dive into lively conversations and chat with industry-leading fundraisers and thought leaders to explore hot-button issues and innovative ideas. So stay with us for the next 30 minutes while we inspire you to embrace the future of fundraising. All right, let's get going. I am super inspired by my guests on this episode of Raise Nation. They're the co-founders of the Morgan Marie Michael Foundation. And I know we're going to get into a really great conversation. It's always inspiring to me and the point of Raise Nation to deliver the voice of the fundraiser and hear their stories and what motivated them to build better tomorrows. But in this particular case, we have young women who became very philanthropic at a young age. And that's even more inspiring. So with that, please welcome Alyssa Lego and Amanda Witkowski, co-founders of the Morgan Marie Michael Foundation. Hello, ladies. How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing great. Thanks. How are you? We're so excited to be here on Raise Nation today. And thanks so much for this great opportunity. I think we're going to have a great discussion.
Hi, how are you, Amanda?
Excited. Very excited to be here. Alyssa and I love talking about our foundation to help spread our message. So we're very thankful to be on this podcast today.
Well, it's great to have you. And as I mentioned in the opening, you were just so inspired on the story about the stories that we hear on Raise Nation, and anybody who wants to build better tomorrows, impact communities, they have my attention, they have my ear. But the two of you started, I won't ask you your age because that wouldn't be fair, but I believe you started the Morgan Marie Michael Foundation as teenagers. And that is really impressive, very inspiring. And I want to hear that story. What motivated you at such young ages to dive deep into impacting communities, creating societal change, and just building a tomorrow that you want to live in? So, Alyssa, why don't we start with you? What was the inspiration?
Of course. So I think the most important part in talking a little bit more about what we do and why we do it is, of course, our why. And I was actually, the Morgan Marie Michael Foundation, we are a 501c3 committed to providing direct support to individuals on the autism spectrum in our local, national, and even global communities. And this was something that I first woke up to when I was about 8 years old. I have a younger brother.
Wait. 8 years old.
Yes. This was the first time that I realized the changes that needed to be made in my community. And I was about 14 years old when I first made those first steps in figuring out what I could do to be that change and make those changes. So I have a younger brother, Michael. He has special needs and he's nonverbal. And I was very young when I woke up to the ableism and the discrimination and the ostracization that he faced because of his disability. And of course, I absolutely love my brother as a protective older sister, but it is a little bit different when you have a younger sibling that is disabled. And of course, I just wanted to eradicate any societal struggles that he faced. And as I got older, I realized that that's a lot more complicated. We live in a society where ableism is ingrained into our workforce, into our structures, in our day-to-day interactions. And as an older sister, I wasn't okay with that. And I started to meet other siblings and other families who were united in this fight against ableism and wanted to be that change. So the very first thing I did was I collaborated with a fourth grade teacher of mine when I was about 13 years old. And we created the Friends Who Are Different lesson plan program. And that was all about eradicating bullying for students with disabilities and also eradicating harmful labels and stereotypes. So I had the wonderful opportunity as a middle school student to go into kindergarten through second grade classrooms to talk about this issue that was so important to me and to so many of my peers. And then about a year later, I was able to meet up with Amanda.
How did that happen? How did the two of you meet?
Sure. Amanda, do you want to kind of go into how we met and our first steps in starting what is now MMM?
Yeah, so we met through the pageant industry. We came in contact through a great event, and I invited Alyssa and her brother to come to my skate-a-thon. As a figure skater, I was hosting autism skate-a-thons to help raise money for Autism New Jersey at the time. So Alyssa, Michael, her whole family came. We even got Michael on the ice, and it was a great experience. And we started talking about what could we do together and how could we do more. And so came the Morgan Marie Michael Foundation.
Oh, just like that. Just like that.
Well, it definitely took some time. It definitely took a lot of planning, a lot of talk about what should be our big impact, what should be our big fundraising event. We started with Shop Sell Strut, which is now the Strut brand of events. And we are still working more towards getting different audiences. So we have the pageant community, we have philanthropists. We are working on other secret projects that will be coming to light soon.
Oh, we're going to have you on a future episode of Raise Nation to find out about them. Well, Amanda, what was your inspiration then? So we see how Alyssa got to this place, but what about yourself? You were a figure skater. Is that right? Is that what I'm hearing? You're a figure skater, yeah. And you're doing a fundraiser with your team, is it? And tell me about that. What was your inspiration?
Yeah, so I started attending the Autism Skate-a-thon at my local rink. I think I was 14 maybe when I first attended.
Wow.
And I like individuals who don't have a sibling or a relative, a close relative in their family that has special needs, didn't really know much about it. You hear autism every day, but at the time, nobody was really talking about what it is or how you can help. And I started to learn that my backyard neighbor has autism. He built this massive castle out of Legos, and he is nonverbal. Nobody knew that while he was doing it, he broke 3 toes. And I heard this story and I was like, I need to know more. So I started continuing the skate-a-thon, and it got passed down to me. And as I started working on it, I started learning about more people in my extended family, more people around the block from me, more people in my community that have autism and the various different ways they have autism. So I got inspired to help spread that message of making more people aware. And meeting Alyssa, I've learned the importance of acceptance as well.
Okay, so how does this happen at a young age? I mean, it's not usual. What would you say to all of the young men and women that are 8, 14, 19 that can make a difference? You went out, you did it, you did hard things, which we're going to get to in just a minute. But I'm so inspired that, Alyssa, you mentioned that you woke up at 8 years old, and Amanda, you mentioned at 14, you had a curious mind. You wanted to learn more. By magic or by the grace of God, the two of you came together, and we're better for it. But what would you say to your peers out there, younger, slightly older, about being the change?
I think that's a great question. I think it takes a lot of soul searching about what makes you tick, about what makes you angry, about what experiences you've had that you can unite with others and figure out how you can change that. For me, it was anger. I was mad that my family was isolated. I was mad that my community and the places in which I live treated autism as a deficiency, as a disease, when really it's just a different neurology and a different way of seeing the world. And I wanted to basically stand up on a pedestal and learn as much as I could and eradicate those stigmas while also providing direct support to individuals that live with autism that do need those extra support and resources that I felt like with enough years of fundraising and training and planning that I could be able to help provide. And I thought that was a really exciting role for me, but it definitely stemmed from something that I was really angry and upset about. And I think being in tune with what makes you angry, what makes you upset, what things that you see in society that you want to change, and then meeting with the logic behind it. For me, I couldn't be more grateful to have met Amanda and her family because they were able to help me take my emotions and the things that I was upset about it and put it into a logical plan to move forward, to actually get into the communities and to make that change. So it certainly takes a lot of emotion and a lot of passion and a great view of how you can see the places that you're in be changed for the better. But it also takes a lot of logistical things, a lot of planning. And I think once you have those two things, it's just a perfect storm and you can only move forward from there. So I feel like that's how it all kind of came together for us and for the establishment of what today is known as the Morgan Marie Michael Foundation.
Do you think young people today have a responsibility to develop philanthropy and a philanthropic outlet? Because it seems to me, Alyssa, that you channeled frustration, anger into a positive way. So that's great. You know, anybody out there that's listening that's upset or frustrated or angry or emotional over something, you too can be the change, right? You channel it in the right direction, surround yourself with the right people, make a plan, right? Sounds like that's all great advice, but is it a responsibility? How do you feel about that, Amanda? What would you say to young people that is it their responsibility to do something?
I think that it's a responsibility for everyone in this world to do something, to speak up for what you're passionate about, to speak up for others who might not be able to. I think a lot of individuals when they're younger, especially children or the ages that Alyssa and I were, when we first started this major philanthropic work that we would call our lives. I think when children are that age, they're often looked kind of down upon and people aren't really as inspired to kind of get behind them and give them that little push, which we're fortunate enough to have a great community behind us. But a lot of children these days don't have that push to get out and serve your community more, get out and you want to start your own foundation at 5 years old. A lot of people don't take it as realistic as Alyssa and I were taken. So I think that they do have a responsibility, but I also think that their families, their community behind them have the responsibility to ignite that passion and help them move forward.
And give them the opportunity.
I definitely agree. I think there is a responsibility in every person to do what they can to shape their society and their community into one that is, worth living in. And I think it's the idea of effective altruism. I read a wonderful book about a month ago by Peter Singer called The Most Good You Can Do. And the concept of effective altruism is all about examining your resources, examining your capabilities, and what you're able to do to creating the most positive change and the most positive impact within your realm, whether that's your school, your state, your town. I would really recommend the book. It's wonderful. But I think our societal responsibilities and obligations really come down to that idea of effective altruism. And for myself, and I think for Amanda as well, after so many years of soul searching and planning, we feel that our role as effective altruists is as the co-founders of MMM.
Got it. Okay. Well, I'm learning a lot from two young and powerful women. Let's talk about the what and the how, starting with the what. What is it that you do at the Morgan Marie Michael Foundation, which you affectionately call MMM? And let's talk about that. It's the Morgan Marie Michael Foundation. Sometimes it's MMM. What are the M's? Well, I guess it's Morgan Marie Michael, but where do those names come from?
Amanda, you want to take it away?
Sure. So I guess when you come up with a name for an organization, it might be a little hard. But for us, it was more so about ourselves and our mission. So Morgan comes from Alyssa's middle name. Marie comes from my middle name. And Michael is the inspiration that helps ignite our mission, which is Alyssa's brother, Michael.
Oh, okay. Because I was wondering, why wasn't it Amanda and Alyssa Foundation? I got it. Okay. So let's get to the what and then how you do it. What are you doing to impact communities? You've mentioned that you're a 501c3. I saw that you're celebrating your 5th anniversary or 5th birthday celebration. That's a milestone achievement for sure. What is it that you're doing? Is it all awareness, or are you directly impacting the community with programming? Tell me a little bit about the what. What's the impact? What are you doing?
Well, I think what makes us unique is the fact that we really focus on awareness and acceptance and also direct support. That's our biggest commitment, is remaining a direct to serve foundation. So our programs are kind of united by this idea of educating the community and, our surrounding community members, but also empowering those community members to get involved and support, while also providing that direct support to individuals and their families. So some of our programs that more focus on direct support, my personal favorite is our iPad learning experience. iPads are really wonderful and groundbreaking tools for a student or an adult or a child with autism, because they really, through augmentative alternative communication software, they're able to provide those tools and those resources to help facilitate communication, especially for an individual that is non-vocal or who has minimal vocal communication skills. But it's also just a great way to allow them to learn, grow, and discover with a tool that's right at their fingertips. And not all families have the resources to purchase an iPad, to purchase a protective case, and to purchase that AAC software. So with the iPad learning experience, we do an application every year, and we take a lot of time to read those applications and to find our perfect recipients for the year. And we will supply them with an iPad, a protective case, and that AAC software, because it really is an instrumental tool. I know my younger brother's life was absolutely changed when he received his iPad, and 10 years later, it's still a huge part of his school life, social, all of the above. So Amanda, do you want to talk a little bit more about some of our other direct to serve programs?
Yeah, I think that there's 2 of our big programs that are my favorites as well. I mean, they all are, but 2 of our other programs I would say is our sensory toy program. We have an annual sensory toy drive through Amazon Smile, which we collect toys that we can donate to schools, organizations. As aside with our iPad, we can donate sensory items as well. So we've collected squiglets and donated thousands of squiglets all over the tri-state, New England areas. Those were a big success at the Lights Fest, and so many people are attentive to it. They're bright colors. You can play with them, pull at them. That was a big hit. But we have other sensory.
Let me tell you, what a sensory toy? What's the difference between a sensory toy and a toy? Why sensory toys? Are you talking about something you can touch and feel and play with? Give me a little more flavor about that.
Okay. I think, Alyssa, do you want to explain this part?
Sure. So many individuals on the autism spectrum experience difficulties with sensory input, sensory output. Some people have different triggers. For, I guess, my brother, he hates loud noises. I know other people have really hard experiences with different textures of food, things like that. So sensory toys are just a really great way for people to regulate their bodies and to regulate that sensory input or output that they need. So a sensory toy, that it can be slime. I don't know if you've seen Poppets. They're huge with kids nowadays. I think They sell out on Amazon probably every other day, but Pop-its are super popular. Fidget spinners, just things that you can touch and feel, and they really help individuals on autism spectrum go throughout their day-to-day lives, because you don't really think of a shopping mall as being a fear for some people, but the bright lights, the tons of people running around, the noises, that can be really difficult. And a sensory toy can provide a lot of enjoyment, but it can also go a really long way in helping somebody with autism go throughout their day-to-day lives and be in the community. So they're really important for play, but also on kind of the medical side of it as well.
So, yeah, because I've heard so many, I see all over the place, especially this time of year. We're recording this right around the holiday season, and there's toy drives all over the place. But you're very specific about your toy drive in that you're collecting toys that are also providing a sensory input, I guess would be accurate. Got it. Okay. So I didn't mean to interrupt you, Amanda. So you're talking about your sensory toy drive. So your toy drives are collecting sensory toys, and then you're delivering them to the communities. Is that right?
Yes, definitely to the communities. We do have an exciting day planned coming up. We will be actually going to Boston College's school for individuals with special needs, and we will be donating toys up there. So we are very excited to be able to reach a larger audience, reach more of the country. But one of the other things that I actually wanted to mention while Alyssa was telling you more about what sensory toys are, she mentioned how her brother Michael doesn't enjoy loud noises. So another sensory item that we are looking for, that we are in the process of getting, are noise canceling headphones to help with that sensory need. And that is leading into one of our other big projects that we are working on, which is the SafeCom sensory bags, which we will be providing to patrol cars to help our policemen when they have to pick up an individual with autism, when they're engaging, to help get them to communicate and find their home.
So why do police need assistance? The police needs, so help me out. Help me understand that. So what is that called? SafeCom? What was that called?
So it's called SafeCom Sensory, and this is a particular project that I am really passionate about, because if you look at the statistics, especially regarding police brutality, there are really disproportionate rates in how individuals with disabilities, and specifically individuals that have autism spectrum disorder, are treated by police officers, and that really stems from misunderstanding. And that's where we can all come in to help educate our fellow members of the community. So an interaction with a police officer can be very stressful for anyone.
Well, for me, for sure. Let me just start there.
I'm sure, I'm knock on wood, I have not had an interaction with a police officer yet, but it's stressful for anyone. And I'm sure everybody listening can relate to that. But for somebody with autism, that is multiplied by 500. So sometimes the lines in those interactions can be a little bit blurred. And like I said, it just stems from misunderstanding. So we are putting together these SafeCom sensory bags to equip different police departments within their patrol cars, so that if they are having an interaction with a community member that is identified to have autism or some very high sensory needs, they're able to provide them with those bags with some sunglasses to distract from the bright lights, noise canceling headphones, from the loud sirens. And we hope and we know that will really help to soften that interaction. And it's also allowing us to educate our police officers on some different, more effective ways to handle interactions with individuals on the autism spectrum. But like I said, it really does stem from a misunderstanding. So we're really glad to be able to find this part of the community where we can, give our own special impact. So that's SafeCom Sensory.
SafeCom. Okay. Wow. Okay. So you're much more than just an awareness foundation. Not that there's anything wrong with being an awareness foundation, but you're really, when you mentioned about giving that direct support, that's for sure what you're doing. But that takes a lot of fundraising. So how are we, we wanted to talk about the what, now the how. How do you get this all done? Well, how do you accomplish all of your impact, your strategy, your fundraising to make all of this happen? Because sounds like noise canceling headphones and iPads and sensory toys can be pretty expensive.
Yeah. So when we first started the foundation, we were doing an annual fashion show. Obviously, the pandemic hit and it kind of turned our in-person world upside down. So we have been able to use the One Cause fundraising suite of technology to have virtual events to help with that fundraising. So we were able to do a fundraising event over the summer where we had videos, pre-recorded videos to explain our what, our why. Oh, actually, that wasn't over the summer. That was a little earlier, but you get the point. We had a great experience where we were able to pre-record videos explaining our what, explaining our why, having Maddie Pruitt talk. We've had many different...
From The Bachelor?
Yes, from The Bachelor.
Oh, wow. Super cool.
Definitely thanks to Alyssa.
It was everyone's idea. We love being able to throw in some celebrity shout outs, and we're glad that that's possible with the VEC Virtual Event Center.
Yeah, so we were able to have this virtual event where people could tune in from wherever they were and help support us as we are on this journey. And one way that they could continue to support us right now is through our giving site. With Giving Tuesday this past week, we are always fundraising, especially this time of year.
Yeah. Wow. Sounds like you're very busy. I'm sorry. You were going to say something, Alyssa?
No, you're fine. I just kind of want to talk about that transition from living post-COVID to in the height of COVID to now, because I think that's been a huge challenge for grassroots organizations, for large organizations, of course. So when the pandemic first hit, we were kind of in a standstill. We had been hosting these huge fashion show marketplace hybrid events with 200 people plus probably 300 plus in attendance. And we're like, oh, well, can't really do that anymore. So we had to hit the drawing board for probably the first time in 2 years. As a young organization, we really wanted to bring things that were engaging and different. And we're like, okay, we don't want to have just like a basic Facebook Live fundraiser event. So the answer really was the VEC. And even as we're starting to step out and transition out of the pandemic, we're still looking into this virtual space just because the possibilities are so endless. We've been able to host a bake-a-thon, which was amazing. We had maybe about 6 different local bakers, and it was just like on Food Network. They baked up and showed our virtual audience some of their favorite homemade recipes, and we were able to make little recipe books with those exact recipes that people could receive with a donation. My favorite virtual event that we did was Strutting in the Skies, a little play on our Strut events. And here we were actually able to engage our ambassadors, and our ambassadors are really the beating heart of our organization, which has also been possible with the P2P software. So with our ambassadors, there were different levels of fundraising. And according to those different levels of fundraising, we had a photo shoot all day, one day in August 2020. And we put those photos on billboards all across the country. And that was just something that we never could have thought we were able to do before. We had billboards in Vegas, in Times Square, in New York City, in Connecticut, in Florida, all across the country. And it was just an amazing way to not only celebrate our ambassadors and to recognize the amazing fundraising that they had done that year, but it was really a great way to continue to stimulate donations, but also to get our message on these huge billboards all across the country. So that's what you can do with virtual fundraising. And we're certainly so excited to transition back into all in person, but really this opportunity was a blessing in disguise to allow us to engage these different audiences and really do things that we never thought would have been possible in the middle of a pandemic.
Wow. So so you've been on billboards all over the country. Let me ask you point blank, Amanda, had the pandemic not hit, do you think you would have ever seen the Morgan Marie Michael Foundation on billboards throughout the country? Do you think that would have happened?
Honestly, I don't know if we would have even thought of it. It was a big idea of what can we do nationally and virtually, and how can we get our message to the world, or I guess the US at that time. And I don't think we would have actually thought of that idea had we not had to think outside of the box for virtual opportunities that could help expand our message.
Wow. So you have a lot going on, and I'm so impressed just with your strategy and your thought process. I can't believe we've spoken for almost a half hour. What's next? What do you envision is next? I mean, I don't know what's left. You've started your own nonprofit organization. You've created programming. You have a number of things going. You're fundraising virtually, online, in person. What could possibly be next?
Well, I think our biggest focus right now is continuing our different initiatives for the 2021-2022 season of giving, which is so important for any organization, of course. So we will link our giving site, at the end of the episode. So that's probably one of our biggest priorities right now. On December 16th, we'll be traveling to the Boston College Campus School to do our third annual sensory toy drive. Our 2022 iPad applications just opened, so that's very exciting, and we're certainly looking forward to reviewing those in the coming weeks and months. But something that's really been on my heart and on my mind is providing more support for adults with autism over the age of 21. My brother is 16 right now. He's about to be 17. And 2021 is a really scary age for families that have a child that lives with autism, just because a lot of your resources are cut off when you hit 21. Your schooling, your after school resources are really just cut off. And that's a really scary thing. So I think the Morgan Marie Michael Foundation has a really unique opportunity to continue to dream up and to not only dream up, but put into action these different plans and resources to really target that special population of adults with autism. So that's probably my answer to what's next for the Morgan Marie Michael Foundation, just because it's so important and really overlooked as well.
And we're celebrating Autism Awareness Month coming up in April, right? Just a couple of months from now. So I'm sure you're gearing up for that as well.
Yes. Amanda, yes. Do you want to talk about our t-shirt for?
Yeah, that's what I was just about to say. We actually have our 2022 Autism Awareness Acceptance Month, as we like to say, t-shirts, limited edition right now. So they're actually on our giving site, which is p2p.onecause.com/give MMMF21. And we have our annual t-shirts linked there, and we're selling them right now, limited edition. Get them in time for Christmas before we close them down. Maybe they'll come back in time for the month of April. Maybe they won't. So it's something you don't want to miss right now. But another campaign that has to do with t-shirts is something that is also our What's Next. And you've heard about our iPads, you've heard about our sensory toys, but we actually met a little girl who is non-vocal and prone to self-injurious behaviors. Her and her twin both have autism, but she definitely is more impacted. So her family's looking to get a service dog. So on top of our limited edition Strut for Autism t-shirts, we're actually doing a Strut for Beatrice t-shirt to help Beatrice raise funds for her service dog.
Strut for Beatrice. Aw. That sounds adorable. You just are very well branded. And I think I can't wait to see what the future holds for both of you. So let's see. We have SafeCom, we have sensory toys, iPads, Strut for Beatrice, Strut for Autism. Yeah, you girls are very busy. Any shout outs before we have to say goodbye to our audience? Anybody you want in particular that you'd like to shout out? Sounds like Beatrice would be one of them. So hi, Beatrice. We love you. Anybody else?
Huge shout out to Beatrice. I want to give a huge shout out to our ambassadors as well. As I said, they are the beating heart and the hands and feet of our organization, and to see some of the ways that they've really just gone above and beyond in the past 5 years is just incredible. So thank you so much to all of our ambassadors, our donors and supporters. Of course, these are some pretty hefty undertakings that do require funds. So thank you so much for your support over the years. And we can't wait to connect with even larger audiences in the years to come. And I also want to give a shout out to my brother, Michael, because I would not be here, obviously, without him. So shout out to Michael.
Amanda, how about you? Anybody in particular come to mind?
All right, I do have one person in particular, but I also have two organizations that have made this current fundraiser and all of our fundraisers possible. So I want to thank One Cause for all their fundraising suite of technology.
Aww.
Those have truly made a huge impact in our organization and our fundraising efforts. And also to Bonfire, which is how we're currently doing our t-shirt campaigns. They are helping us so much support Strut for Autism and Strut for Beatrice. But I think Alyssa made a very good point in mentioning our ambassadors. They are the heart and soul of our organization, but we do have an ambassador of the year. Her name is Ariana Matthews. So I want to shout her out for all her amazing work and all of her support for the past 5 years, but especially this year.
Wow. Sounds like you have a beautiful community behind you, and you really developed something special. All right. How can we get in touch with you? Where do we go to find the Morgan Marie Michael Foundation? Are you on social? I presume you are. Where do we get you? Where do we get a hold of you?
So on socials, we are Strut for Autism on Instagram. And then we have two different Facebook handles. We have the Morgan Marie Michael Foundation, and then Strut, which is, of course, the brand behind the Morgan Marie Michael Foundation. I'm not sure if I made that clear. But if you do have any specific questions about our program, if you would like to nominate someone for our iPad learning experience, or even have any questions or suggestions for us, we'd love to hear them. So you can send us an email at morganmariemichaelfoundation@gmail.com. And then Amanda, do you want to give the link for our holiday giving site?
Yes, so our holiday giving site is live, and you can find that at p2p.onecause.com/give MMMF21.
Wow. And before we sign off here, this is not the only thing that you do, right? So tell me a little bit about, Amanda, what do you have going on in your life? I mean, is this your full-time job, or are you exploring other opportunities outside of the Morgan Marie Michael Foundation?
So currently I'm getting my master's of biomedical sciences at Nova Southeastern on my way to medical school. And I also work as a medical scribe for two different organizations. So definitely this is not a full-time job. I definitely am busy pursuing a medical degree. So I would love to make this a full-time job, but I'm very passionate about becoming a physician.
Well, somehow you're splitting yourself in 30. And what about you, Alyssa?
So I am a full-time student. In addition to being the co-founder of the Morgan Marie Michael Foundation, I just started I'm just about to finish my first semester at Boston College. I'm a pre-law student here. So as of right now, I will hopefully be attending law school after my undergrad years at BC. As for hobbies, I absolutely love writing, hiking. I love getting outdoors when I have time. When
do you have time?
Good, but in the summer, I have time in the summer. But as of now, I do kind of split my time evenly between being a full-time student, where I'm a member of the undergraduate government, a part of the student admission program, as well as an undergraduate leadership program, which is really amazing, in addition to my pre-law studies. And then my philanthropic work as the co-founder of MMM.
Wow. Are you sure there's not like 3 of each of you getting all of this work done? Pretty impressive. We aspire to be inspiring here on Raise Nation, and you've certainly been that. So fearless fundraisers, with that, it's about all the time we have. I wish I can talk to these young women for another hour, but that's all we have time today. Thank you so much for listening. We hope you enjoyed today's Raise Nation topic. and your daily dose of fundraising inspiration. Tune in for a new episode release every Thursday at 12:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. But in the meantime, be sure to listen to all the episodes on Raise Nation Radio and follow whatever channel you prefer, whether it's Spotify, Apple Music, or on demand at onecause.com. Fundraisers, you are doing amazing things. Amanda, Alyssa, you're doing amazing things to build better tomorrows for our communities. The stories are just awe-inspiring. And on Raise Nation Radio, you won't want to miss a single episode. I'd like to thank our sponsor, One Cause, for making this episode possible. One Cause is driving the future of fundraising with easy-to-use software solutions that help nonprofits connect with donors. Be sure to check them out at onecause.com and visit the resource tab on their homepage for a broad catalog of ebooks, webinars, and blogs that you're sure to find helpful. A huge shout out and thanks to my guest, Alyssa and Amanda. We so great having you, and thank you for sharing your expertise and your authentic voice today. We really appreciate having you on Raise Nation Radio.
Thank you for having us.
Yes, thank you.
Well, I truly enjoyed our conversation. Thank you again so much. That is a wrap. Until next time, I am Dawn Lego, and this is Raise Nation Radio. Stay fearless out there. One Cause is the proud sponsor of Raise Nation Radio and your daily dose of fundraising inspiration. One Cause is driving the future of fundraising with easy-to-use software solutions that help nonprofits connect with donors. Day in and day out, One Cause puts your cause at the center of everything they do. Let One Cause power your fundraising.